Now, it's time for some updates from the global business scene. And let's begin with the United States. As it battles a growing trade war with the United States, Beijing blamed a sharp shift in the global economy for the decline in manufacturing activity this month, according to official data released on Wednesday. Beijing has retaliated with new 125% levies on U.S. imports, while the United States imposed punishing tariffs in April that have reached 145% on some Chinese goods. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that the Purchasing Managers' Index, that's a crucial indicator of industrial activity, dropped to 49 in April, below the 50-point threshold that distinguishes growth from contraction, indicating that the effects of the measures were starting to be felt. Well, to the automotive industry, as the German car maker deals with the upsetting effects of U.S. tariffs on the global auto sector, that's Volkswagen, as they announce a significant decline in first quarter profit on Wednesday. For the first 3 months of the year, the largest automaker in Europe reported an operational profit of 2.9 billion euros. That's a 37% decrease from the same time the previous year. Compared to the first quarter of 2024, Volkswagen's first quarter sales revenue increased 2.8% to 77.6 billion euros. The corporation explained the increase by pointing to increased car sales in non-Chinese markets. Now, Amazon has clarified that it has no plans to display tariff costs next to product prices, dismissing a report that sparked backlash from the Trump administration. The confusion stemmed from internal discussions limited to Amazon's whole storefront, which never moved forward. White House officials criticized the rumored move, with Trump even calling Jeff Bezos. Now, after Amazon's statement, tensions eased, and Trump praised Bezos for resolving the issue. Now, while some rivals like Temu and Shein are now itemizing tariff costs, Amazon says that it is not following suit. Well, not for now, at least.
Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly, and he did the right thing, and he's a good guy. Yeah, nothing that really, he's a good guy. I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, and he's done a fantastic job, so I appreciated what he did.
Well, President Trump has rolled back parts of his car tariff plan after automakers warned of rising prices and production hits. The new rule lets companies with U.S. factories offset tariffs on foreign parts based on how many cars they sell, offering 2 years of relief as they adjust supply chains. The White House said firms will not face double tariffs on items already hit by steel, aluminium, or North American trade duties. Automakers like GM, Ford, and Stellantis welcomed the changes, saying they'll help to stabilize the industry and protect jobs. Well, we're staying in the United States as U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says progress is being made on tariff discussions with India, South Korea, and Japan, despite market volatility caused by the fluctuating rollout of trade measures. At a briefing with reporters at the White House with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Bessent added that China must take the lead in tariff negotiations and noted ongoing discussions with the European Union.
Our Asian trading partners and allies, they have been the most forthcoming in terms of doing the deals. As I mentioned, Vice President Vance was in India last week. I think that he and Modi made some very good progress, so I could see some announcements on India. I could see the contours of a deal with the Republic of Korea coming together, and then we've had substantial talks with the Japanese. Well, we're not going to talk about who's talking to whom, but I think that over time we will see that the Chinese tariffs are unsustainable for China. I've seen some very large numbers over the past few days to show if these numbers stay on, Chinese could lose 10 million jobs very quickly. And even if there is a drop in the tariffs, that they could lose 5 million jobs. So we're negotiating with a lot of different interests. Some of the European countries have put on an unfair digital service tax on our big internet provider. France and Italy, other countries, Germany and Poland, don't have that. So we want to see that unfair tax of one of America's great industries removed. So it's going to be a give and take. So they have some internal matters to decide before they can engage in an external negotiation.
Edward. Well, here in Nigeria, the latest reports indicate that one of Nigeria's refineries located in Warri, Delta State, has shut down operations despite huge funds spent on its rehabilitation. According to a document from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the Warri refinery, which cost $897.6 million in maintenance, has failed to produce petrol and was shut down barely a month after it was declared. The refinery ceased operations on January 25, 2025. That's due to safety issues in its crude distillation unit main heater operational, according to the document. Industry players have continued to express disappointment that despite large financial investments and rehabilitation in the nation's 4 refineries, they have not been able to attain their full operational capacity. Well, still continuing on oil, with the change in the leadership of the state-owned oil company, the NNPCL, comes a restructuring of the management and staff of the company that has seen some senior management and staff being retired or having their contracts terminated. A number of senior management staff, including the Chief of National Petroleum Investment Management Services, the Managing Director of the Kaduna Refinery, and the Chief Compliance Officer and former Managing Director of the NNPC Trading, may have been relieved of their positions. Insider sources confirmed to Arise News that though the number of staff impacted is not certain, the changes have nothing to do with their loyalty to the former Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari. The new management, having 3 days upon assuming office, appointed an 8-member senior management team. Finally, the House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has recovered an additional 11.49 billion naira from oil and gas companies, bringing the total sum retrieved to 61.5 billion naira. These recoveries follow investigations based on reports from the Auditor General and data from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Akin Rotimi, says despite multiple invitations issued through public notices and official correspondence, several companies have failed to appear before the committee. These defaulting firms collectively owe over $384 million. Public Accounts Committee Chairman Honorable Bamidele Salam warned defaulters of potential license revocations for non-compliance, affirming the committee's commitment to enforcing financial accountability in the oil sector. Now, Nigeria is rapidly advancing its renewable energy sector as part of efforts to address the country's severe power deficit, with over 80 million Nigerians lacking reliable electricity. Central to the strategy is the push for solar energy, exemplified by investments in local solar panel manufacturing. The government's distributed access through Renewable Energy Scale-Up project under the Rural Electrification Agency requires developers to use Bloomberg Tier 1 certified panels, yet only imported panels currently meet the standard. Despite this, indigenous manufacturers like LPV Technologies are stepping up the world-class production facilities and stringent quality controls. At a recent press conference, Abba Aliyu, MD, CEO of the Rural Electrification Agency, and Nzal Obe, Chairman of LPV Technologies, emphasized the need for policy interventions to empower local manufacturers and promote fair competition. Both Aliyu and Ogbe called for more deliberate policies to level the playing field, allowing Nigerian manufacturers to compete and grow, ultimately positioning the country as a leader in Africa's renewable energy sector.
The country requires about $410 billion to achieve complete energy transition. The LPV is the first integrated, vertically reintegrated renewable energy service company that has invested in the manufacturing, invested in the implementation, and also invested in talent, building talent pipeline in the country. This is something that the country requires. This is something that is in line with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, where we need to enhance the country's gross domestic product by deliberately investing and localizing some of this value chain within the country.
And what you have here is a 100 megawatt solar plant, manufacturing plant, which we plan to scale up to 300 megawatts before the end of the year. And this is in line with what we have seen. The encouragement we've seen from the government. The government has said that they're going to solarize public infrastructure. This would both reduce the cost of energy. We know where the challenges are in terms of pollution, and part of the reason for why we set up this factory was to fill in that gap and ensure that we are contributing our own little quota towards ensuring that we have clean energy reaching out to everyone in the community.
On that note, we appeal for the speedy return of our business correspondents to their various desks.
I don't know what stories you people are focusing on. I have my own list of stories, but it doesn't matter.